Hello everyone. Today in this video we look at an overview of the DNA structure. So first things first, maybe the question that we need to answer is, what is a DNA? Though I know most of us may have an idea of what a DNA is. So basically we can define DNA as a hereditary component that stores genetic information in all organisms. Basically, DNA carries genes that are responsible for the different phenotypic traits, such as the appearance, and also it also contains information that is used to express the proteins that enable proper functioning of the body. So it's a very important part. So next we have DNA in full. It can be termed as a ribonucleic acid, a deoxyribonucleic acid, because it contains three major components. So the first one is the deoxyribose sugar. So the term deoxy is because of the fact that the second carbon is attached to a hydrogen group as opposed to an OH group. So the second one is a phosphate group, which forms part of the DNA backbone. The third one is a nitrogenous bases, and we have 4 of them. So we have adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine, and they are also important when it comes to DNA sequence, because the arrangement is what now determines how the proteins in the body are expressed. So basically, as we had mentioned before, for the bases we have 4 of them, and I'm sure by now we know that DNA is a double helix structure, and of course inside, as you can see from this diagram, the bases are paired using the hydrogen bonds, and the base pairing follows a particular pattern, so that adenine will pair with thymine and guanine will pair with cytosine. And we can follow this from the colors denoted by the different bases. Like you can see, adenine is red, and of course it pairs with thymine, which is green in color, and so forth. Guanine, we can see the color, and it also pairs with cytosine consistently in the double helix structure, as we can see. The other important part is the phosphodiester bond. So this is the bond that is formed between the phosphate and the deoxyribose sugar. So in most cases, the phosphate forms the upper part or the top part of the DNA, while the deoxyribose sugar forms the lower part or the bottom of the lower part of the DNA. That is, the end of the DNA is usually deoxyribose, so the pentose sugar. So the upper part, which is composed of the phosphate sugar, is called the 5' end, while the lower part, which is usually the pentose sugar, is called the 3' end. And of course, the DNA is usually termed as, it contains antiparallel strands. So what we mean by antiparallel strands is that one strand runs from 5 to 3' end, while the other strand runs from 3' to 5' end. So as you can see from this diagram, as we had said before, the phosphate and the pentose sugar, of course, they attach to each other to form now the DNA backbone. Yes, and then of course now they'll be attached to the base, as you can see from this diagram here. So definitely now the inner part of this diagram at the far end will be the bases, which will pair to each other, while the outer part will now be the sugar phosphate backbone, which will alternate. So you'll have phosphate, pentose sugar, like that, until now you get to the 3' end, which marks the end of the phosphate sugar. So thank you very much for listening to the video. I hope everything is clear, and if you have any question or if you need any clarification, don't hesitate to ask in the comment section. Thank you, and you can watch the other videos as well for clarity.